In today's video, I'm going to be interviewing Ben, the innovator. Not only does he run his own company where he sells his inventions, but he works for Dyson, which is a well-known innovation company.
What if we can teach kids that their ideas are valuable enough that somebody else will part with their money for it?
Listen carefully for what insider secrets we can get from him. So we're really lucky today to be with Ben, the innovator. Is that your official title?
I call myself Innovation Ben.
Innovation Ben.
I've been known by lots of different things, but I think adding my name and the word innovation tells you everything you need to know about me. Okay. I'm all about it.
So Innovation Ben, and you basically, so this is all about business, and actually businesses have to come up with products, and your kind of job, your being, your everything is to do with innovating and coming up with products.
That's right. Yeah, in the daytime I work at Dyson and have done for just over a decade. And then in the evening I design my own products that I've sold all around the world.
Okay, so how do you start designing a product then? Where is your starting point if you were designing a product?
There are a lot of places you can start. I like to start with a problem. And the reason I like to start with a problem is because if you can solve that problem and lots of other people have that problem, then you have a business.
Okay, so you find a problem that you're going to solve. How do you get to that solving part? Like, what's your process for coming up with ideas?
For me, I have always been a maker. I'm a tinkerer, I'm a maker. The way my brain often works, I tend to learn by doing. So if I've got a problem, I'm going to research everything around that problem, and then I'm going to start making some stuff to really get to grips with it and understand it. So my example for this is I like minis, classic minis, the really old ones. And I kept hitting my head on the bonnet of it. And I knew it was a problem because not only was I doing it, it has a name. The hitting of your head on a bonnet is called the mark of Isigonis, and everybody's done it. And so I looked around for other ways to solve that problem, and people had already come up with some stuff. That might already be the case.
Okay, yeah.
So there could easily be existing products. So I would look at those, what's good, what's bad, what have they done well, what haven't they done well, and then I'll try and look for other ways to potentially solve that problem. So looking at different cars, looking at different doors, it was all about hinges for me.
All over the place.
Yeah,
different things.
I don't want to just focus on one idea and go down that route, because you could spend an incredible amount of time and get to the end, dead end, can't do it.
Yeah.
End project.
Right. So it's actually really worth having that overview of lots of different areas. And how good a working product you actually need to have for your end result? How much does
there's a concept we talk about. It's called MVP, not minimum. There's a concept we talk about. It's called MVP. It's not most valuable player in the business world. It's minimum viable product. What is the least amount of effort you can put in to make the best product for the best price?
Okay. Oh, so that's really, so you basically just make the minimum you can to see how you can get kind of started. So you're not trying to make a massive, great big thing. You're actually trying to make something.
Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress, because you can just keep going and keep going and keep going and never launch anything and then be like, well, that wasn't a success.
So oh, okay,
No, but you've never launched it. How would you know if it's success or not?
Yeah.
So you don't need to physically have launched something to know if it's a good idea. Make some stuff, put it in front of people as early as you can, and find out what they think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's an amazing idea. And when you were saying about getting an overview of different areas to look at, is there anything that helps you with your creativity? Like you said, tinkering, but is there any way I'll go and do something completely different? Or how do you go to loads of different places?
Right. There's loads of different ways to come up with ideas, and there's lots of great stuff you can do to help your brain think. Okay, so initially, get out of the four walls you're stood in that moment, because you've been there for too long. Go and look at different things. If you look at different things, you will think differently. Yeah,
that's really good. Yeah, so go and look at.
Listen to music. Your brain thinks differently when you listen to music. You work faster. You work harder. You can access areas of your brain that you weren't able to access before by listening to music. I would go for a walk. The thing of walking, the monotony of the pounding of your feet on the floor, starts to help your subconscious to work. When your subconscious can work, it solves the problems for you. Yeah. So actually, you only need to do an amount of work, stick it in your brain, and then go for a walk. And then even today, on my drive home from work to here, I've solved a problem mentally, which I'm going to go and build tomorrow.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I really want to ask what your product is. Can you tell us? Is it a secret?
I can't. I'll get sacked. No.
Oh, because you work for Dyson.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dyson, then.
Yeah.
So when you've finished your product and you've done it, is that the end, or you constantly once you've got a minimum viable product?
No, it comes back to that idea of minimum viable product. A product that is good enough that does actually solve the problem and solves it well. You can put that out there, but that doesn't mean that's the last time you'll ever do it, because we're at the nature of being an inventor. You're always coming up with better ways, a more efficient motor, longer run time, or a quieter device, or you discover a new material that you can use. There are always ways to make things better.
Yeah, and I suppose Dyson is constantly doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a new phone this year. I had a new phone 2 years ago. I had a new phone 4 years ago. Technology moves on, and when I was a kid, the internet didn't even exist. So technology is continually expanding, improving, getting better, and so your ability to improve your products is ever increasing.
Amazing. Okay, so what's your top tip then for somebody that is thinking about doing entrepreneurship or going into business work, or for a young home educator today? What would you say to them as your top tip?
I think you really need to learn to not need to know what the next step is.
Especially if you're inventing, because there isn't a book to follow.
Correct. Unless you're literally inventing the same thing that someone did before, you won't know what the next step is. Yeah. So being brave and bold to be able to just have a go, make something. Doesn't matter what it is, move your dream forwards one step.
And then finally, what's your favourite thing about product development then, and inventing things? What do you love the most?
I've got too many favourites. All right, I'm gonna have to put a few favourites out there. One of my favourites is the magic moment when it works. Right, when you've been hitting a roadblock, it didn't work, and the moment it works is magic. It's so exciting. Yeah. Right. Now, if you can fast forward that moment until you've got something that is saleable, and you take the thing that you've made and you put it into somebody else's hands, and they go, do you know what, that's brilliant. That's so good, I'm going to pay for it. And I'm addicted to that moment. I love it. It's the best thing ever when you can transfer your belief to somebody else and they will pay you money for the thing you came up with. And then at least a year later, if not longer, they still like it.
And is there anything special that you have made for somebody that they've paid you money for that's one of your favourite things you've done?
All sorts of things. What have we done? I tell you what, I developed a phone holder for a Classic Mini, and I've sold them in over 40 countries around the world. And the reason I like that one is because somebody stopped next to me in the traffic jam the other day, wound down their window. I'm like, who's this nutter? And he's like, Ben, I bought your phone holder and I've still got it. It's really good. You can shake the car with it. And I'm like, yes. You know, most people that have had a phone holder, at some point it will have snapped off, broken off, fallen off, done something stupid. You can shake the entire car with that, and everybody loves it.
That's amazing.
But I've got loads of those. You know,
just so many things because you keep going. That's the thing, is that you never stop. And like you were saying, you're not waiting for the next step. You're just keeping going with the product development, keep refining it, and getting on with it as well.
Yeah, and I've always got new ideas. I mean, that is a kit that I sell, and it's made of cardboard. I love taking stuff that people didn't expect to use and turning it into something usable. How can I teach you to turn rubbish into something saleable? Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And there's so much stuff I love. I love empowering kids to start businesses, because what I found was, growing up, school never ever talked about being self-employed, never talked about starting your own business. The very idea that you would ever work for yourself was this foreign concept. Yeah. There are people that have made it, but no, you're going to go and work for a company. But what if we can teach kids that their ideas are valuable enough that somebody else will part with their money for it, and that they are not a slave to the wage, they're not a slave to the day job, that they can truly be free to go wherever else they want to go in the world and to actually live their dreams. Yeah. Because for my parents' generation, that wasn't possible.
Yeah. But it's currently accessible to anyone. It doesn't matter your start in life. You can be self-employed. You can run a business
if you have one of these, a smartphone, you can access the world in moments. Yeah. And if you have something good, people will share it.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a really good point to end on. If you've got something good, people will share it and you can make your business. So thank you very much, Ben. You're been welcome. Amazing. It's so good.
Thanks,
I was absolutely blown away by all the information I've got from Ben's interview. In fact, I have actually watched his interview 3 times just to make sure I have written it all down. So you might want to watch it twice as well. But do just keep innovating, like Ben said. You might not actually know what the next step is, but keep going. I can't wait to see how you get on.